On the question of like whether we have a degree or not, I actually didn't get mine. I did 3 years, which is enough to get. So we did the way we do it was a tiered system. And it's level 7, you get a degree, and I finished my year to get my level 7. And what happened was I failed 1 or 2 modules out of like 20, and I was going to repeat those, and I'm like, oh well, if I'm repeating them, I'll repeat everything, because like I had like this kind of confidence thing. And then I found out I was kind of having a rocky year anyway, with like the reason why those were failed. And I found out I actually have ADHD, and that's when I got my diagnosis. Was in college.
Wow.
And
Rico,
I started having serious. I started having serious problems with like.
You can try.
Yeah.
I started having serious problems with like just like going to college and concentrating on like what I had to do, because mine gets worse with like stress. So the more things are on top of me to keep track of, the harder it gets to keep track of every little thing.
Hey
so
Drew,
like,
you should be paying attention to this.
There's such things. And yeah, I ended up like taking a year away from all that, and then during that year, my granddad got cancer, and then it was like, okay, well, the next thing we're all working on that. So I actually haven't finished it yet, but like I still can. Just gotta go back into like 1 more year.
TIE Fighter says, "Rip that vape." Also, yeah, just responding, or I guess following on from Celticness. Yeah, no, I've had ADHD for, I mean, I want to say like at least since middle school, but I didn't have it diagnosed until like this. I mean, really, within the past 6 months. So, yeah, there was a time when I failed a bunch of classes throughout college. I actually majored in international relations and politics. I've never had a job in that field. I looked for like a year and didn't get it. But yeah, I basically failed a bunch of classes. I was barely able to graduate on time because I just like took a bunch of classes just to make just enough credits to graduate. Yeah.
I mean,
like I say I had it my whole life.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like when you realize you have it as an adult, you go back and you go,
yeah.
Oh, is this why when I was in school and my teacher's like, hey, can you do this very simple thing? And then I go, what if I did this really, really overly complicated and elaborate thing?
Yeah.
Like all that feeds into it. Like you're in a bit, and then that fools people into thinking. Like, so for instance, when I was doing art, I was super into art. They were like, oh, I'm gonna just draw a face. And then I'd come in with like a 3/4 portrait and the whole body and a scene behind it, and spent like 9 hours. And the teacher would be like, why'd you do that? And I don't know, I just kind of started enjoying it. And next thing,
John,
I forgot to eat dinner yesterday because like I was drawing this.
What does that mean?
Sounds like me, but I know that I have mild Asperger's. It's not ADHD. I just
If you look up a Venn diagram, there's an overlap between some of the symptoms of ADHD and some of the symptoms of autism. So you would probably just be in the hyper-focused portion of that.
I am.
So
I'm extremely like multitasking is my best friend. If I'm not multitasking, I cannot function. If I try and focus on one task in its own solidarity, I can do it, but it stresses me out. I have to do 5,000 other things at the same time.
I just started going back to college last year. Sorry, you can go.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just started going back to college last year, and it's been an absolute pleasure. When I was supposed to,
I respect that, by the way.
When I was supposed to go to college for the first time, my mind was just a jumbled mess after high school, and I just wanted to go drink and play music at shows and have fun. And I did that for a long time.
What you should do. I would argue that's what you should do.
I did that for too long.
You should do that. You should go soul search. You should find out who you are before you start trying to make any decisions that are going to last your whole life.
And then I went back last year, and it was awesome. And I worked my ass off, and it was really fun to learn again. And then this year, at the beginning of the year, I started developing my thesis on how Dungeons and Dragons can help kids on the spectrum, because it encapsulates everything that those children have issues with. which is like reading social
Yeah,
cues.
but in nice little systems that they could easily learn and then
Yeah,
implement.
exactly. And it's multifaceted, and it can be applied to anybody, any mindset. So you could paint like everyday difficulties,
you
whether
could
it
be,
is
analytical.
Such sexy fucking brainiacs here.
making a transaction at a store would be a chore for people on the spectrum, and it would be hard for them to learn how to take care of that sort of thing. But if you turn it into fantasy and make it fun via D&D, you could probably help a
Bye,
child
Nancy.
learn that
Good
way.
night.
And
Sleep well.
bye-byes. And
One thing that
I wrote
also found with
pages and pages, and I did lots and lots of research, and like it's been really fun. It's just unfortunate that COVID hit and it just killed all of everything that I was trying to go to college for. It stopped me in my tracks.
Yeah, well, it'll hopefully come back, but it's actually really interesting. I had a girlfriend at the time, ex-girlfriend now, who was involved in childcare, and I used to help her with some of her coursework, so I kind of know a bit about some of that stuff. And hearing you talk about kids that like say special needs or on the spectrum or whatever word you want to use for it, it's really interesting because some of the things you want to help people who are a little different with can be really simple as well. For instance, kids just never learn how to make a decision, so they'll say simple things like don't put too much pressure on kids to say say for instance if it's raining outside, don't ask them do they want to wear a coat. There's a right answer and some kids will be annoyed you're asking, and there's a wrong answer and then the kid ends up getting sick. Instead, present them with an option of coats and be like, which one would you like to wear?
Yeah.
But there's a couple.
I'm out of booze and I'm sad now.
But the kind of thing is, I would say D&D is a great way to implement a lot of those small, simple lessons into those kids' days and give them little choices, little things that are open-ended. They're not restrictive, so to kind of give them the freedom to make decisions, to think about the scenario. And you as DM, if you're working with kids in that scenario, can easily be well, actually, you're forgetting the bar staff in that scenario or whatever, and you can kind of help them kind of either reduce some of their overfocus or maybe get more specific. But you're at the table, So I kind of think that's really.
And another thing that's really important for people to understand is kids that are on the spectrum become adults, and when that happens, it doesn't mean they fall off the spectrum. They're still on it.
Yep.
So you have to start at the early stages to help them develop all the way up. Otherwise, they're going to be adults and they can't fend for themselves. So it made college for me even more fun, finding a passion inside of it. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
So I have a very interesting story. As I said earlier, I got measles when I was 2, and it literally boiled my brain, and gave me very severe brain damage, and reset me, etc. Like I was talking, and then it was another year or so or 2 before I was talking. I wasn't in. I have extremely severe ADHD. I wasn't in full-time education until I was 8, because I did things like I attacked teachers with scissors and ran away from school, and I had the problem, certainly with severe ADHD, is your brain will be telling you that, it's a really smart idea to do this, and what that means is that's going to get you the most attention at that point, but that probably most of the times is going to be very negative attention, etc. You would just do the craziest because that's what will get you attention. Your brain just works against you. I have dyslexia, dyspraxia, short-term memory failure, loads of other shit as well. But
which one's dyspraxia again? If you don't mind me asking,
it's basically dyslexia of coordination. So
spatial awareness kind of dyslexia.
I'm left eye dominant, right-handed, and left-footed. Yeah. So it's
that's rough.
None of that really
interesting. That is an interesting combo.
Yeah, none of that really
sounds
works
difficult.
that great, But I was very lucky. Everyone, I couldn't write. I can't. Yeah, I think it was still when I was 8. I couldn't even write my own name for many years, etc. And it's Mark, M-A-R-K. It's not the most complicated of names, etc.
Hi, Mark.
God.
But I was very lucky, and everyone thought I was thick as two short planks because, like, I could never get it down on paper. Because again, I'm, ADHD with
Hard to
dyslexia
quantify.
and dyspraxia. Like, my writing's, like, my handwriting's bullshit.
Work.
I can't
Dysgraphia.
fucking spell, and or whatever, and it's just like all the rest of it. So everyone thought I was thick as two short planks until I had a verbal IQ test as part of my dyslexia diagnosis and got automatic membership to Mensa.
Nice.
And then as part of that, I then got a brain scan at Great Ormond Street Hospital, which is like the kids
Yeah.
hospital in the UK.
It's super
et
helpful.
cetera.
It's your
It's like
guys'
where you go.
St. Jude's.
Yeah. Great thing. I mean, we are talking. So what are we? I'm 85. So mid 90s or whatever. Yeah. The MRI machine's like the size of my living room. For the rest of it, this is going to take like 40 minutes or whatever. And then obviously halfway through, I was like, I need to take a piss. And so I had to put out a drain because I can't move until I'm locked in or whatever. But at the end, I was again very extremely lucky to then be part of the medical trial for Ritalin in the UK. So I am, and I'm actually one of the key case studies cited in that study because again,
Congratulations.
Kind of the proof of concept that can help people.
Yeah, but I mean, and again, I was someone that they could go, here's a brain scan. We can see that he has ADHD because obviously, certainly in the early days, a lot of the problem was diagnosis. Like just kids that aren't getting attention. Like parents, that are ignoring kids. Like give them Ritalin. It's like no, like it like unless you've actually got it. I used to actually play the game in the waiting room of like in the medical study of like but ADHD or just ignored children.
Like just a kid who is hyper.
You can spot them. You can spot them because it's the hand movements, it's the micro movements, it's all of that lot, like which is the 8 signs of ADHD, etc. And obviously, I've then taught myself to know that within myself. So when I know I need to take more Ritalin and all the rest of it, and and it changed my life. I went from not being in full-time education to now running a team for a large insurance company, building the websites, etc., in a very professional job. Everyone thought I'd been dead or in prison by the time of 18.
Dude, congratulations.
I went to all the rest of it. It's there is things out there. Again, I would say Ritalin saved my life, but again, I don't say that everyone should take, especially like you see these 4 hymns, like ones where they're like, oh, get ADH meds, like fill out this online survey, etc. Like, always talk to a psychologist, talk to a certified doctor. If you think you've got those problems, seek help, but don't just fill out some survey.
do not just buy ADD meds.
And thank you guys for sharing your stories. Seriously, this is personal stuff.
They are speed. They fuck you. And it's a price I'm willing to pay. Like by taking 90 milligrams of pure amphetamines every day. Like that's what it takes to live a normal life. It's not.
Wow, you're taking 90 milligrams?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Again.
So,
I've been on it since I was 8 and I'm 35.
Right, and I can relate with you on essentially developing ADHD through brain damage. Because like the story I told earlier when I fell off the monkey bars, after I had cracked my skull open and they, pushed it all back together and sealed me up, after that I was diagnosed with ADD, which now it's just all categorized under ADHD. There used to be a difference, but now it's all categorized under ADHD.
Yeah. Again, we're all on the spectrum.
Yeah. So, the ADD is like, because the way I can explain how my brain works is that I have a million thoughts flying around in my head at any given time. And so when I try to speak, it's trying to grab those words and be like, there, and try to form a sentence before it comes out. So a lot of times you'll hear me stutter. That's me skipping forward, trying to say the words and then go, I have to rein it back. I have to rein it back in order to find my words again. And I've never taken anything higher than 50 milligrams. So hearing somebody taking 90 milligrams, that's fucking insane. And that's
every time there's a new pharmacist at the pharmacy, they're like, they start asking me questions.
Like,
it's like, this dose is like, should you be taking this much? Is this been prescribed right? And it's like, no, I've been on it.
It's like, this is normal.
I've been on it for like, what is it? So I'm 35 and I was on it since I was 8. So I've been on it like
I switched a lot of medications. And
17 years or whatever.
I was on a medication before, and like this is how bad it can get, because a lot of time, like with the way it affects me, and I, sorry, see here, there it goes again. I lose track of where I'm at, and then I have to try to find it again. But when I was in 5th grade, I took this one called Dexedrine, it's dextroamphetamine, and I after taking it, I was 25 pounds underweight because I just wouldn't eat. I literally just would not eat
Mars bars.
Because it really
feed me Mars bars.
It hinders your appetite. It really does. It makes you just like you don't think about I need to eat. You're just thinking about I got to do the thing that I got to do that I'm focusing on, and I have to get through my day. Eating does not register.
It's what all hardcore diet pills are made of, isn't it? Like, again, it's the same sort of thing. And it seems like the most daft thing to give someone who's hyperactive. Hey, let's give them a load of speed. But all it does is it rewires the brain for the brain cells, because how much a percentage of your brain does fuck all. You know, all it does is it just remaps the pathways for people with ADHD. So that, like, the brain cells that aren't doing anything just do the job of the ones that are either deficient or, in mine and Rico cases, dead because of brain damage, etc. So, but obviously, if you give it to someone who doesn't have ADHD,
it's like the prefrontal cortex has like diminished self-impulse control in people with ADHD, and the medication will show an uptick in traffic in that region after you've taken it, and then that kind of leads to some better self-regulation.
I think oh no, there he is. Raptor looked like he was about out.
No, just enjoying the feeling of warm back on cold hands and cold hands on warm back.
Oh yes, nice. That is the best feeling. But like the ADD medication, essentially just takes the electrical charge and just zaps it back into the brain cells, and then it re-energizes everything. And it's a hell of a fucking thing.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, V2.
Yeah, no, I was going to say Irishlyn put it well, because they said, for me, my thoughts go down so many tangents simultaneously, trying to cover any contingency. It ends up paralyzing your thoughts often to where you think of every scenario but can't act on any of them. And that I was saying that's exactly how it often feels.
Yeah.
It's like your brain is just in overdrive, thinking of every possible scenario or like every way you could handle it. Oftentimes, I just imagine really hyper detailed scenarios. That it would never happen, really. But just imagining hyper detailed scenarios, how I would react, how the other person would react to that, and especially just like focusing on those details and just being unable to act.
I've never talked to people who have this similar kind of feeling as me, and it just like I can just automatically understand exactly how you feel, especially like in arguments, like with like past girlfriends and stuff like that, in previous relationships where it's just like blah 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 blah, and arguments are going, and I just sit here like this, and I'm just taking it all in, because in my mind I'm working out how do I say what I want to say and come out still okay.
Yeah.
What's the best scenario?
I think the important thing to say, though, I mean, whether it's ADHD, whether what it is you're not alone. Like, wherever you are on the spectrum, etc., there are people going through it, and anyone going through it can reach out to me. I'm happy. I've done podcasts on it and things like that. I'm very open about it and all the rest of it. And like I'm happy to talk to you. There are people there that have gone through the same things. It's not something to be ashamed of. It's something, you know, to work with. Man. And again, you know, like, again, I will also say, make sure you also talk, you know, like go to doctors, go to psychologists, go, you know, psychiatrists, etc., to get this properly diagnosed. Don't go for any
Rico knows me
and all the rest of it. And
also, can I say go to a psychiatrist or a doctor and specifically talk about the fact you're having problems with concentration, or you're having problems with like remembering, or with like just functioning, because I had been in therapy. I'd been forwarded by a teacher for behavioral problems as a kid. Specifically, she actually cited ADHD, but this was maybe 96, so it wasn't something people wanted to prescribe or diagnose back then. So I came out of the thing and they were like, no, he's fine, he has selective hearing. I'm like, sorry, but what the fuck is selective hearing? Explain that one of the. But I was diagnosed with selective hearing. The doctor was basically like, yeah, he hears what he wants to hear. He pays attention to what he wants to pay attention to, which is hyperfocus.
Yes.
So
funny. That's a lot of the excuse that people in relationships will use too. Like, oh, they have selective hearing, and it's just like, no, motherfucker, that's not necessarily what the fucking case is.
What you do.
Yeah. And Rico knows me well, dude. Like,
high stress situations, like, yeah, you are in your head, like, you are trying to form a thing because you know, like, your fucking brain betrays you so often, so you want to, like, make sure that you are using the right words there, because it's so easy to use the wrong words that will just make the situation 10 times worse, and it's not even your intent or your whatever.
That's why past relationships have really fucked me up, because people have sat there and been like, because I do have mild Asperger's, I am a very high functioning, mildly autistic individual, because that's the same with my dad and that's the same with my son. But past relationships, I can zone out and focus in on something and still be listening to the conversation that you're having, and completely whip back around to that conversation like I've been part of that conversation this entire time. Because that's just
you have to date the person, not the condition.
Yeah.
Me and Rico,
you have to learn like to be with that person.
Me and Rico have tried many a times to do projects together, and I've struggled with chronic fucking depression my entire life. All the way down to where it used to break my body down into seizures. And I would warn him, like, I want to do this with you, but at any point I might have to shut myself away for 3 months in my room. And like it's like that's what happened with the Pokemon Go thing on that channel. I couldn't handle life very much, and I just would warn him, like, I will give it my all until I can't, and then I'd have to stop and just be with myself and try to work on myself as much as I possibly could, because yeah, dude, like actual shaking on the floor shit was not fun. I tried to take meds for it, and it was the scariest thing for me, because I was afraid that, like, medication would change me, and I was afraid that it would change my mindset or who I was to be someone else. I tried a couple times, and I felt comatose. I didn't know exactly what dosage I was taking of what, but it was just too scary, and I just tried to, like, walk my best path as I possibly could through it. And to be honest, awkwardly enough, this year has been the best for my mental health.
I mean, I certainly, when I was in high school, etc., I was severely bullied. I tried to take my life several times. It's so easy to fall into those things. You know, talk to someone. There are, again, look at this community. Turn to your left, turn to your right. Someone will talk to you and have a conversation with you if you're in trouble. Like, you know, you don't think you're alone. Like, it's hard, and yeah, meds can be a problem. You know, especially when you're dealing with, like, mental health and things. I've had friends who then went through like 5 years things to end up on the right meds of all the wrong meds that did all the sort of things to their bodies and all the rest of it. Like, meds for mental health are like difficult. Like, don't accept the first ones. Like, if it's not working for you, again, it's an evolution to find the right solution. Like, don't, don't because those first meds don't work, times a million, then put you off like exploring other meds, etc. But also don't take meds that have...
and don't negate friends.
Yeah.
Not only that, you're not supposed to stay on one type of antidepressant or one type of medication. You are supposed to change it up regularly with your doctor's help, because to stay on one type of medication means that your body is going to become accustomed to that medication,
Dependent,
and then it's going to completely kick it out of your system and stop working.
I was going to say, borrowing from my own personal perspective, never be afraid to go get a second opinion from another doctor. Because during my, I can track the start of my depression back to my teenage years, and the doctor I had at the time, I visited on multiple occasions complaining of the same symptoms, of same classic symptoms of depression. The ones that are in like PSHE. I don't know what the American equivalent is, but
it's so true. It's so true. I have depression and I suffer with it, and I've dealt with so many meds, and just trying to overcome that is a massive thing that no one can see. Like, it's just, that's your battle, your own battle to try to get above that hill.
The doctor that I was going to every single time won't complain of the exact same symptoms, and this isn't just like a good couple of days apart. This is we're talking. Went to her once and complained of the symptoms. She went, "Oh, you it's just your hormones. You'll get over it. Next, get out." And thought, okay, well, she's a doctor. She's got to know. I'll just trust her opinion and leave. Still, symptoms persisted. Went back, but
not everyone is up to date
6 months, a year later. I'm like, no, these symptoms are still here. It cannot just be my hormones and still the same response. It's just your hormones. They'll calm down. Get out.
Yeah.
And the third time, it got to the beginning of 6th form, so the age of about 16.
16, yeah. 16, 17.
Yeah, and I decided enough's enough. Like, I don't really know what's going on at the minute, and having just complete shut everything out, including relationships, friendships, and all that sort of thing. And I decided, no, fuck this. I'm going to a different doctor. I cannot keep going to the same person because it's clearly not working.
Yeah.
And turned around to him and explained exactly what was going on and all of the different symptoms I was going through. And instead of going, it's all in your head, turned around and went, this sounds like autism.
Yeah.
Would you like to get tested and send off for specialist help and all this sort of stuff? And went, yes, because clearly something is not right here. And even if it's not autism and anything like that, it'll give me an answer.
Yeah,
it will bring me closer to having an answer. And
your
luckily,
GP isn't a mental health specialist. They are a jack of all trades, etc. Like that.
Yeah, but again, not knowing any better as a 13, 14-year-old, and for a couple of years thinking, they know what they're doing. They're a medically trained professional. It did really fuck with my head for a while. Just the idea, because I know that I need help in a lot of areas, and fair enough. A lot of the things that you've all shared today about ADHD and ADD, and I've just been sat here going, oh God, this sounds far too familiar. Like this, in my family, it wasn't selective hearing; it was selective deafness, and the fact that every so often there'll be a train of thought. I'll be halfway through getting on board, and then just gone. The fact that I will start projects and I have no issue starting projects, and as soon as I get to the middle, it's a case of where the fuck am I?
Yep.
And you're all sat there saying this, and fair, Cassie and Rachel and a few other people have before just sat around, no, seriously look into it, go speak to somebody about it. It does sound like you need to get checked for it, and fair enough, there's a long list of things I probably need to get checked for, and I do intend to do that.
Good night,
But
folks.
because
If you
of
have
the
to leave
issues
and
that
go
I've
to sleep,
had
thank you.
with doctors in the past,
if you have to leave and go to sleep, please do.
It's totally understandable. And Happy New Year. Thank you guys for joining us.
We love you all.
You're wonderful
Happy New
people.
Year,
We love
everyone.
Yeah.
Happy New Year.
guys.
Happy New Year.
I wish you nothing but the best of everything.
You redeeming a sing mode for Adele, are you?
Yeah, I just want to point out what an incredible group of people we have assembled here today.
Big time.
Including you. Including you.
We are.
Fuck off.
Java, get back on Facecam. Are you crying?
No, I'm not. I'm making pizza.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah.
Also, I completely forgot to put my camera on, but I was doing my heartfelt speech.
Yeah, he was kneading his dough earlier.
Oh, that's right.
I have a pan.
But I mean, what other Twitch stream do you have? Like, they're doing a 24-hour stream. Oh yeah, let's have an hour and talk about mental health. Like, with a load of people.
It's
But it's like
so healthy.
masculinity.
This is so healthy, and I appreciate all of you guys for being here for this. It's just through my marriage, I was told that I just needed to man up and do shit, and it was so toxic, and I was so in love that I looked past it.
You accepted a lot of it.
And I accepted a lot of the shit, and it's just like I look back and look at myself and go like, I'm much smarter than that person. How the fuck did I allow myself to go through that?
Yeah, I think like when we have bad experiences,
so easy to get stuck.
Yeah, when we have bad experiences, I mean, this is the only life we have lived. So when we have bad experiences, especially at EM, but even as an adult, like we often just assume, all right, well, this is just how it is because we haven't experienced better.
You don't see that at the time, like.
Yeah,
you see what you want to see at the time, and then when you step back and you realize, holy crap, things weren't great.
Yeah. It is so difficult to evaluate things from the inside.
Yeah,
it is unimaginable.
Absolutely.
I know it's a bit trite to use like TV shows and whatever, but I don't know if anyone's watched Big Mouth, but that has a fantastic description of anxiety, depression, loads of other mental health issues that can crop up during like your teenage years, because again, it is just a show about kids going through puberty and trying to become adults, and they bring in Tito the anxiety mosquito, they bring in the shame wizard, they bring in the depression kitty, the shame wizard. You got your hormone monsters. Shane Lizard.
Oh, Lizard. Okay.
No. His name
Perfectly
is
Fly. The show is
Wizard.
Big Mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, it can be crass at times, and I'm not going to pretend that it will be everyone's cup of tea, because everyone has different senses of humours and sensibilities and all that. And if you like it, great. If you don't like it, that's equally fine. There is no problem. But just the way that they present,
I found more
depression
alcohol
and anxiety,
always good. I found it.
It's wonderful.
A big goal going forward has to be that, like, if anybody needs to talk to somebody, we always have a Discord. And if we don't have Discord, if we're not all chilling in Discord, we're going to be streaming. So if you ever need to talk to somebody, hopefully our community is there for it.
I promise you,
at any point you want to talk to people,
always
like
be
Rico and the main dragons, and it's currently like California sleep time. I will be here.
I usually very good at the absorption of your problems and helping with the little issues. If you ever need some good advice, just come to the dragons. Just not Rico. He has his own problems. He's gonna just lose his shit.
No, you can still come to me. In the middle of me frantically working, I will talk to anybody. I have ADHD, like I've said, like we all know. I will be in the middle of a project like, oh, somebody just talked to me. Let's talk to them for 5 hours.
He will sacrifice work just to make sure you're okay. It's fucking hilarious.
Thank you for saying that, Day in the Life. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
I've been there. I can't promise you that I'm a great person or whatever, but if you ever need to talk, I am always there for you.
Man, for legal reasons,
you are fucking right in my book as well.
Yeah.
For legal reasons, none of us are mental health professionals. So if you really, really, really need help, we're not a replacement for that, but we will try our best to help you.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll come at it from a place of experience. That's the thing.
Experience and love. And love.
Yes, and love.
We love you. I love you.
I love all of you guys.
There's now a new category in the Discord. It is called mental health, and there are 3 channels in it. There is vent, there is advice, and then there's things I need help with.
This is a good way to ring in 2021.
Have a question of, should I post this? Post it, because you need to. Because we are all here for you, because we will help you.
Even if it's to get it off your chest.
Yeah, it makes no difference.
That's why the vent was there.
I've learned through the hard way. You really can't let shit just bottle up inside you. I am one of those people that I have my own problems, but I'm so concerned with everybody else and all of their problems and making sure all of my friends and all of my family are actually in a good headspace that I neglect myself constantly. Rico can attest to this. I broke down in the last couple of months before the big boom happened. I was legitimately on the verge of several breakdowns, and he's the one who actually helped me stick together somehow. But I will do what I can. I will drop shit just to make sure you're all right. But you've got to remember, closed mouths don't get fed. So you need to speak up. You need to actually say, look, I'm having trouble with this. And one of the dragons, someone in our Discord, will be there to help you, to listen to you. If you just need somebody to listen to, we'll be there.
Perfectly flawed.
I will especially be there if I have to.
Put it really well in chat. If you aren't comfortable talking openly in the channel, create a DM. We'll talk privately. It'll be between us.
Yeah. I'm on Twitter, the Indie
don't think that anything is too small to talk about.
Yeah.
Like, everything is worthy of chatting about. Everyone here is so loving and so kind and will give you everything they can.
Yeah.
One thing I would say, just to follow on from Anthony's point.
It's not, like, I want to help you if you're in that place, because there were people that helped me when I was in that place, and I would not be here if it wasn't for them. So I'm always happy to be that person for someone else. Like, it's not an imposition. It's not a whatever. Like, you reach out. There are so many people that will be happy to talk to you and will be far happier that you're still here.
Absolutely, TIE Fighter. Anytime, bro.
As Anthony said, I am very much one of those people who will push aside my problems to help other people. It's how I've always been. If I see somebody that needs help, I will go over to them and I will ask them if they need help. If you come to me and ask for help, I will be there. And I know that with everyone here and with the conversation we've been having for the past some time now, I've kind of lost track of the ability to tell time.
It's almost been an hour.
It's rather bright outside now.
We have each other's back in this Discord, in this group,
Community.
in this family, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Like, this is beautiful. We are all loved.
It's a very nice
You are all
community,
loved.
as
It
we've
is
all kind of had over the
phenomenal.
last while since we formed.
Yeah,
it's been very positive.
Just as a personal note, for as again, male of 20. Oh fuck, I'm 25.
Oh, you're 25.
I'm male of 25.
I'm 36. Calm the fuck down.
Oh dear.
never taught to suppress emotions or
I'm
anything
30
like
in
that,
case
but
the bear
always
didn't
had
give me away.
"you're a man, it's wrong to cry" sort of speech, and internalizing that, seeing people just happily and healthily expressing their emotions in this, it does genuinely warm my heart, and I love it. One of my favorite parts, and one of the reasons that I will always adore Lord of the Rings is the depiction of such healthy male relationships and male figures. The fact that
Real bros
Aragorn
give each other their
happily
axe.
cries and give hugs and kisses and signs of affection. It is genuinely one of the nicest parts of any literature I have read. It's not just the standard male badass, I have no emotions bullshit. It's you have that, and you have the tenderness, and it is so perfect. And in that, I see that
Group
in every
hug from
single person here.
Group hug, everybody.
Big hugs to you all.
I fucking love all of you. We've
I was going to say, carrying on from what Anthony said about if you said open mouths, so closed mouths don't get fed. Just to say, like, if you can't make a lot of noise, if you can't talk about everything, that's okay. It's kind of like if you go into a hospital, the quietest people are the ones nurses are worried about. But they have to know you're there. You have to check in first. So just make yourself known to need help, and then people will respond to you, even if you can't fully express everything. Don't worry about writing, Ulysses and sending that to them. You don't have to send that much. Just literally like a "Hey, I'm having a bad time" is actually fine. Most people will respond to that.
Yeah, no, seriously. Just make a little bit of noise. One of us will pick up on the noise, and we will come and say, "Yo, what's up?"
Yeah,
please. I know some people worry
do
about
that.
Hell yeah.
Even just DM, you can honestly
sound the alarm.
Yeah, you can honestly DM me just, I am having a terrible time. I need to get out of my own head. And I'll sit there and be like, yo, what's your Steam? Let's go play some games. What do you want to do?
Do that.
Again,
please, anyone.
No one is suggesting that they are medical, it's psychiatric professionals and
Oh,
all
hell
the rest
no.
of it. But the first step is to start talking about it. And if you can start talking about it with us,
we are not
it's
professionals.
so much easier to talk about it with a professional.
I am a professional jackass, but I'm not a professional therapist.
But Anthony,
I've never been paid for my jackassery, but I like to think of myself as a professional jackass.
Yeah, I'm only an amateur jackass.
Anthony, when we
don't discount what you're doing. Don't discount being there for someone. It's from personal experience, it's really hard to reach out to those professional organizations.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to reach out to friends and people who will love you and not judge you, and that's what this is, right? Like, this community is a loving and caring place. So if you're ever in that place where you don't know what to do, reach out.
Yeah.
Chat with someone.
Somebody here will be listening.
Be with us. Like, it's what you need to do.
Yeah, we can't give you medical advice, but we can talk about like our own experiences, and hopefully that'll help you in some way.
Everything will be from personal experience, and therefore will not be perfectly tailored to your situation.
Hashtag not your doctor, just dragon cuddles.
Yes. Anthony,
100% dragon cuddles.
I will just be a humble dinosaur, but
Anthony, when we set out with the Smoking Dragons, what was our initial plan? What did we want to do?
We honestly just wanted to entertain people and basically make their lives just a little bit better. Even if you only, like, you're having a shitty fucking week and you tune into one of our shows and you just forget how shitty your week has been. That's all we wanted. All we wanted was to help people like feel a little bit better about themselves while at the same time entertaining them and making people laugh, because our fucking shenanigans are goddamn ridiculous. Like, seriously, if you watch the Pokemon 5e game, I'm a fucking asshole. I make that game interesting because you really don't expect a 14-year-old to say the shit that comes out of my mouth, and I'm like, I've been like that since I was 14. I don't know what else to say. But like, we just want to entertain people. We just want to take whatever shitty feeling, whatever shitty vibe you're feeling, just remove it for a few hours. That's all we're really trying to do.
And what
we can help for just a few hours.
And what we ended up doing was building a found family. That's what we did. And this is amazing, and I wanna read Alley Cat's message here. I honestly have the worst time making friends. I've only been here for a bit now, but truly feel so welcome and loved. Seriously, thank you. I really cannot thank everyone enough. Join the Discord, Alley Cats. It's a great time in there.
Yep.
And
we have
thank you.
It's worth joining just for Hidden Dragon posting music.
What?
and then Perfectly Flawed says, if we ever meet up in real life, it's going to be the biggest dragon cuddle pile ever. Fuck yeah, it is.
I may be a humble dinosaur masquerading as a dragon, waiting for you to all realize I don't have wings, but I can still give damn good cuddles.
Yeah.
Bitch, I see your wings on a regular basis. Every time you jump in the Discord and I hear that sultry ass voice, I'm like, oh look, the angel has arrived.
That's an anchor.
Techno Bear, blood is thicker than water, but love is thicker than blood.
Yeah.
Also,
and honey is stickier than all of them.
The full phrase.
Okay, the full phrase. Blood is thicker than water, but
the blood of the covenant is thicker than the
water of the womb.
Is thicker than the water of the womb. Yes.
The friends you choose, those that stick by your side, can be more important in your growth, in your health, in your safety than your family. It is okay to cut ties with people and to choose your family and those that are truly your family.
I assume all of us were, struggling and handling things on our own until we, if we did, we sought help. So
for me, it was about, I think it was maybe 16, 17. I'm not sure of exactly when, but I was, I'll say handling things on my own. I was not handling things on my own.
Yeah, handling, yeah.
Put it. Yeah, I had, so I have anxiety, depression and ADHD. That's my full kind of, my full kind of thing.
Yeah.
And my particular issues, whatever they were, whenever I'm around people, I get socially anxious because I start scripting the entire conversation. Like, oh, this person's probably going to say this if I say this, so then this person say this, and I go down all these, and then what ends up happening is I don't speak because I'm so deep in my own internal conversation.
Yep.
And I feel like people are going to be mad at me for things I haven't even said because I ended up bottling them. So I went like a year and a half without having any real conversations outside of one-on-one conversations. So if I was in school, too many people wouldn't talk. I couldn't plan the conversation well enough. If I was out with 2 or 3 friends, sometimes that would be too much. It'd be too overwhelming. So usually it was only one-on-ones. And a lot of my friends were like, dude, what's wrong with you? You're so quiet, but like, it's just me and you. Like, we're hitting it off. Like, everything's great. But like, as soon as one more person shows up, you just like, you just go home. Like, you're basically...
It's so hard. Yeah.
And what happened was about, I think it was 16, I can't remember exactly, but I didn't say attempt, but suicide attempt is kind of a bit of a strong word for it. Someone walked in while I was about to plunge a scissors into my throat, and they stopped me. And with that, I went to therapy. But I told a friend one-on-one, and he kind of took it upon himself to figure out kind of who else in our group would be okay knowing that. And I got a support network around me of about 3 or 4 friends who were like, No, dude, like, we'd be really, really sad if that happened. And then I lost two friends to suicide, and every time they check in with me and they're like, look, just so you know, like, you know, we haven't spoken much, but I know that, you know, because of social anxiety or whatever, you have your times where you don't see anybody. But that offer that I'm always here for you still stands. And I have friends who I've not spoken to for maybe a year or two, and they still check in with me every, like, you know, like, they'll send me a text and say, hey, dude, how you doing? You know, so it's like, once you kind of let people know what's going on, you don't choose the family you're born into, but you can choose the family you live with.
Hey, and you may not have any of the issues that we're talking about. You know, you may be happy, you know, everything, you really be perfect. But
which is great, lucky
for you. But again, what you've got to do then, if that's you, is you need to know those people in your life that do have, and check in with them.
Yeah.
You know, like, that's just the thing. And I mean, in these times as well, it's so easy to get isolated now. Like, with people working from home, being out of jobs, and all the rest of it. And even in the normal times is,
Yeah. Even in a relationship, it's so easy to get isolated in a relationship, and without pulling on anybody else's, like, abuse in relationships. I know Rico has touched on his past relationships and everything. I was literally at 20 years old, pregnant with my first child, with my ex, and my ex emotionally abandoned me while I was pregnant, to the point that I had to fight postpartum depression by myself. Until one of my friends stepped up and noticed that I was having such a hard time, I had stopped communicating with everyone. And just anytime somebody would message me, oh no, I'm doing fine. I'm okay. I'm all right.
Which is what you have to do. Celtic, I'm so sorry. My dude. Like, you went through so much and you're still here, and that is amazing.
We're all still here. We're all still here.
And the thickness of this man's fucking armor is so goddamn thick. I don't even know where to begin with the thickness.
I'm sorry, Dirty. I don't know your name.
You're fine. It's Cassie.
Cassie. You're just so open and honest and available, I guess is a weird word. But you
emotionally available.
You just make yourself open for everyone, and it's just so awesome.
It's literally because I had that time where I was surrounded by nothingness, even by my own partner, who was supposed to be there for me. So I essentially became my group's surrogate mom. It doesn't matter who you are. I will reach out and be like, what do you need? Do you need something? Are you okay? No. Don't tell me if you're okay if you don't want to talk about it. But do you need snacks? I will provide snacks. Do you need to play video games? I can do that.
Not to steal the light or anything, but I do see that in everyone here, because we have all been through that situation of, no, we must stay inside. We must keep it to ourselves. Nobody cares. We have all been in that place. And because we have all been in that place, we are one so not easily able, but we're so willing to open it emotionally to people and give them.
I don't think you want to see somebody else go through it exactly as you went through it.
And just, even if that's just someone to talk to or play games with.
I mean,
we do not want to go back in that box, because we know that hell, and we do not want back there.
Yeah.
Not even for a second.
So I come from the kind of funny community, and one of the most powerful posts that I've ever done. Yeah, that's freeze. Yeah, you'll also notice a hell of a lot of art and all the rest of it on the walls and all the rest of it. But I mean, Greg Miller posted, it was one of the most powerful posts I've ever read, which is, you're not allowed to kill yourself. Which was on, I'll try and dig up the forums. It was on the old forums, etc. I think it may have been reposted to Reddit. But again, like, that is just so important. You're not allowed to kill yourself, because there are people out there that care about you. Like, and we've lost people this year. You know, I know that, you know, so it's been a hard year. And, you know, and that's why I've spent 8 months doing a weekly community Zoom for 12 to 17 hours a week every Saturday, but I mean, that's as much as it is for everyone else in that as for me to remain connected and to the world. It's so important in these times. I mean, it's so important in bloody regular times when we're all back to bloody normal. Like, it's even easier to slip into the crowd there and disappear. And
I was going to say, I mean, along the lines of, it's going to sound cliche, but it does get better. Like,
it does.
The best example I can give for me is the year 2016. 2016 for me was, before 2020, my year of hell. Because Valentine's Day, I found out that my girlfriend of 3 years had not only cheated on me emotionally, but wanted to break up so she could get with the guy she cheated on me emotionally with. Later, before my first year of university kicked out, my granddad died due to lung complications. My mother was diagnosed with cancer, and then I think the day before my birthday and going back to university, she died. It was the single hardest year of my life.
Yeah,
and the fact that
we actually met that October of that year, and that was after I had left my ex and had him agree that I could go off to the UK to go to university. And the original deal was that my son would come with me, but that made him uncomfortable. So for his comfort, I sacrificed a year with my son so that I could go to school. So I was a depressed emotional wreck. And I had literally, because what Ginger was talking about is because my ex had emotionally abandoned me and everything, I had turned around and sworn off like relationships. I'm like, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not putting myself out there to get hurt. It's just me and my son. That's it. I'm not going to have any more children. I'm never going to get married. Nothing like that. And she literally told me, she's like, one bad thing in your life does not dictate the rest of your life. If you let that one bad thing dictate the rest of your life, that person wins. And me being the competitive asshole I am, when nobody wins but me.
Nice.
But it was super emotional because I was like, that's why I'm so open now. Before that point in my life, and before I went to the UK and actually got to have that moment of, like Celtic was talking earlier, that exploration moment, that moment of, this does not define me. I need to figure out who I am. I'm only 23 years old. What do I want to do? And now I'm 27 years old, and that moment literally has defined the rest of my progression in life. I am not defined by the decisions of my past. I am defined by the decisions I make for my future.
I'll just say, as someone who is a bit older than that, that never ends.
Well, I'm 27 now.
I'm still 36. Calm the fuck down.
Irish Loon said that he's, I don't remember the exact number, but 40-something.
46. Calm the fuck down. I will also calm the fuck down.
Everyone calm down.
Yes, if we reach 900 subs, I have to make this apparent so that everybody hears it, because a day in the life, he is slipping. And we need to tuck him in.
Oh, hashtag a day in the life gets tucked in.
We have to tuck a day in. Hashtag tuck a day in. When we get to 900, he's going to drop a 100
day in the
bomb.
life needs a night in the bed.
I'll do it.
It's 10:30 a.m. here.
Let's get him.
God, you're so fucking quippy, mate.
Let's get him to that 900 sub mark so he can drop a sub bomb.
Yeah.
And then have.
If you hit 900 subs, I'll drop 100 sub bomb and then go to bed.
Yes. 900 hashtag tuck a day in.
I do want to take a.
He's gonna be so comfy.
I want to take a moment to say that it really shows how important it is to have these conversations that we still have. We've got 60 viewers right now, and we've been just sitting here talking for 2 hours about our own issues, and that really what an incredible thing to give to people to show them that they're not alone. So thank you all.
Thank you, the Dragons. Thank you for giving us a place to come and have these conversations and to make friends. And,
Thank you guys for coming.
Like everyone. Merry Christmas. Thank you all.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
New Year.
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
This is the tone that I absolutely 100% want to define. I know my 2021 is this. I'm tired of the mental health conversations being in the closet, especially in my own family, especially in like my friends' lives, having to listen to them go, my parents won't talk to me about this, but I'm suffering and I just want someone to talk to. No, that stops. We're wiping that off the table. It is time to start having those conversations because it is healthy to talk about them so that you can move past them.
If you start talking, you will find that you are not alone. So many other people are going through exactly the same thing as you. You are not alone. It is not something that's just you. It's not something that's wrong with you. It's not. It's just shit that every bloody person, or like the vast majority of people go through in their own different ways. As we say, we'll all be on different parts of the spectrums. We'll all be on different things. We'll all have,
Everybody has a little something going on.
Yeah. But everyone, it's not it's not something that's wrong with you.
But we're all here to talk to.
It's not something to be ashamed of. It is not something to be ashamed of. And as soon as you can get beyond that, the sooner you're going to be able to find
1,000,000% that.
Not to derail the conversation or anything, but maybe the true Christmas spirit were the dragons we made along the way. Just food for thought.
And how often we got pissed on that way. Just saying, fucking skull.
Pizza does rule.
No, it's 10:30 in the morning. I can't carry on drinking.
You're British. That's a lie.
A day in the life. I want to hear this quote. I want to hear how prolific this is.
Oh, me? No, I was saying
a day in the life. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to hear this quote.
What quote?
No,
Sorry.
I was the one saying the quote.
Oh, who was saying the quote? I'm delirium. Celtic. Sorry. Okay.
I was saying this is a quote my therapist, just to kind of get rid of some of that shame stuff, because I had a problem with that. Like, I have a bit of a perfectionist streak and a bit of an ego whenever I was doing something like writing or something. So I would never I've deleted entire books that I've written just because it's it's up standard, gone. And dealing with anxiety and dealing with things like that, it always felt like failure on my part. I should just not have to deal with this. I should just be better than this. And he kind of explained, if you built the entire world for, say, the average height, people are still going to be shorter than that. Some people are going to be taller than that. That's not a reflection of their value. That's just how it works. The world was kind of built for neurotypical people.
Yeah.
And if you let's go away from height. Let's go height and chest width and waist width and all that stuff. The world for the average person's size might be 6 foot. Might have a 40-inch waist, which is which isn't fitting that exact average. Or you might have a 50-inch chest, which isn't fitting that exact average. There's nothing wrong with you. In some way, you don't fit the mold of perfectly average. You can have ADHD, or you can have anxiety, or you can have depression. It's just a series of different ways you don't fit that mold. And a lot of mental health support is just about learning to live in a world that kind of wasn't made for you. And the world is just tailored towards what average is. But no one is perfectly average in every single dimension.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. There is no average person. like you take that analogy, there is no average person. That person does not exist. Who is exact height, weight, average hair color, average that does not exist, and that doesn't exist in mental health either.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Let him go.
Keldick, did you finish the quote?
Oh yeah, no, he finished it.
Okay,
that's wonderful.
I was going to say the Autism Research Council guys that I did go the specialist I went to in the end. The best quote I can give is from them. Normal stops at birth. You can have a normal pregnancy and you can have a normal birth, but after that, the only thing you can be is different. It is actually average. Like you can be an average height of people because you can take a range of people and go, okay, this is sort of the middle point. You can do that for weight. You can do that for a lot of things that you can quantify because numbers are easy. And despite what a lot of people say, we like numbers. We like numbers a lot. Because it makes things easy. Quantification is so much easier than qualification. Because you can sit there and say, I think the sky is blue, and somebody else will come along and be like, but I see it green. You know? So, again, normal stops at birth.
True.
Yeah.
100% true.
Absolutely.